And now for the Nike Zoom Fly 6. 250 plus miles in this everyday racer shoe. Is it time to retire at this distance, or do we still have some punch to give from this particular pair? Let's talk about it. So before we get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're already subscribed watching content, thanks so much. I love you guys a lot. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Strava for all sorts of updates and things like that. And I'll have a link to my eBay also down below, so if you've seen shoes on this channel that you're interested in buying, or anything that sort of tickles your fancy in the running category, go check it out. There might be something there at a massive discount for you to enjoy. But other than that, we'll get started here without further ado. Specs up here for the shoe, and let's take a look at what the outsoles at this time look like at this distance, because a quality shoe like this usually begins to see an excess wear on the outsoles, especially for the types of workouts I'm trying to get this shoe pushed into, right? So to make that clear, in case this is the first video you're watching about this shoe on this channel, this is more intended for my tempo to sort of threshold workouts. It's going to be my anytime there's a massive speed workout kind of thing. This is the shoe I'm relying on to get through those workouts to preserve life in my race day shoe, which in this case would be the Alpha Fly or the Metaspeed Sky Plus. So that being said, we have some questions we need to answer based on some of the workouts I did, and I'll just kind of talk through some of those, and yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, in terms of the outsole, what's going on the right foot? You can see we have a lot of wear, or not a lot, but it's a noticeable amount on the outside area, the anterior side of the mid to forefoot area of the shoe, as the lugs are beginning to wear a lot on this outside piece in particular, which would indicate that my running style has me probably running a little bit with some anterior sort of landing, and instead of like more midfoot on this right foot. There's no pronation from the looks of it, or nothing massive, as you can see on the interior side of the shoe. The lugs are still there, and I guess the molding dots are barely visible there, so it's really not taking a massive beating, at least clearly not as much as this outside piece, which is great. Midfoot, or not midfoot, the forefoot area of the shoe, definitely taking a lot more of a beat down. You can see it's kind of clipping in a certain way, probably in this case from when maybe hitting the ground a certain way. It's probably just kicking into the ground, or just there's a forefoot like dip in that case, and that's probably why it's grinding those pieces. Can't be 100% certain unless I film it in like a slow motion kind of a way, but it's very interesting. Also, that's the same thing to note here with the foam. We do have some dust from my latest workout, which shows sort of the foam creasing fatigue in this forefoot area, with the Zoom X piece of the foam on the top layer sort of taking this beat down, on the bottom EV layer, the EV, I guess, piece still holding its ground. You can see there's like definitely a creasing difference between the Zoom X and the this EV React X style compound. This one's obviously designed to protect. It's supposed to be a little bit less reactive, more of a sort of shock absorber, whereas the Zoom X is more of your kind of speed foam in this case. But yeah, the creasing is different on both of them, just so we note that. The fly plate looks like it's in good shape. It's still there. It doesn't feel like anything's cracked. It doesn't feel like the shoe is awkward in any sort of places on the right foot. On the left foot, similar story, if not about exactly the same, as you can see. The outside of the shoe, the interior side, is still the side that took most of the beat down. The interior side looks great, so I don't have a pronation issue, thankfully. And yeah, the foam is creasing in the same way, where the Zoom X is a lot more wrinkly than the EVA compound at the bottom there. Same story, good stuff to note with that in mind. So you can probably guess by the outsole story itself, the shoes still have a lot of life, will still pack a lot of punch if I adjust my running form accordingly to maybe simmer down the pace in the shoe just a little bit. So when I'm running and I have like a longer stride for a speed workout, I'm not striking so much anterior, but we can sort of rebalance it and run sort of flat, you know what I mean? Sort of rebalance where the strike zone of the shoe will be during the course of the workout. But that, again, there's a lot of moving parts in that kind of a thing, and I need to get better at that in the long run, both the long run and the fast run. So yeah, that's something cool to kind of keep note of. On the outsole, on the exterior side of the shoe, the outside looks great. I don't see any massive wear or tear. Just like I'm following some stitching like patterns here that Nike kind of put out that they look awkward. It's nothing that's ripping. It's just that's probably how I purchased it. I'm just noticing it now. The shoe is pretty dusty, pretty dirty. It has been using, or I have been using it mostly. It's probably like 90 to 10, where it's like 90% of my miles are outdoor in the shoe, 10% were on a treadmill, weather kind of conditions pending. It's not like I wanted to run on a treadmill with this thing. It was just the only thing that was available at the time, right? So that's sort of what the big story with the Zoomfly 6 is at this time. I think we don't have any major wear on the right foot either in terms of the exterior of it. Not really. Yeah, everything looks fine. It's just dirty. That's what I think is mostly going on. But in terms of performance, yeah, we can go into little technicalities here. We could try to remember some of my workouts, and if I remember to do this while I'm editing, I'll write it out. But the two workouts that I had where the shoe did very well and got me through, and did not do well, and as a result, I sort of kind of scuffed the workout. I had two of them. So one of them was, we'll start with the one I remember right now, which is the one that didn't go well. That was yesterday at the time of filming this video. It was a broken miles sort of workout where I was supposed to do like 1 mile easy, and then there's a 90-second rest, and then I had to do 0.75 miles at like, I think 6:30 pace, and then there was like a 2-minute off, and then a quarter mile at like 5:30 pace or something along those lines. And then I had a 1 mile rest after that block of 3 miles at whatever the broken mile pace was. So it was the 0.75 at 6:30 and then the quarter mile at 5:30. And I was tired yesterday. I will definitely admit that. I couldn't push the workout the way I wanted to. And I managed to get it. I managed to do the 0.75 splits pretty well. I was able to keep it within like 6:30, 6:40 range comfortably. And then getting into that 5:30 block, I was able to like get comfortably to about 5:50, 5:55, maybe like a very high 6-minute per mile pace. And while doing that on Runna, I was getting yelled at that I was going too slow, and I'm like, geez, like I don't have like the kick that I'm looking for. And most of it, while I was thinking, was not really like how can I optimize with my stride while running in the shoe. I was thinking how much more can I throw my arms to sort of figure this out. So it wasn't even like a shoe question. I was just making a point that like this was the shoe I was using, and I couldn't like mentally rely on being like, oh, the shoe will get me through this workout. Like there was a million other things going on where I couldn't get it right, and one of the things I was most preoccupied was with my arm swing and trying to figure that out, and how can I do it without causing any sort of cramping as a result. The logic being there that while you're swinging your arms a certain way, the rest of the body has to sort of overcompensate to keep balance, and maybe like your core hurts after a while. Maybe you start feeling a stitch somewhere. Maybe you start dehydrating from working a little bit harder than you're looking forward to before your next water break kind of thing. So all that being said, I couldn't get through that broken mile workout the way I wanted to. It was a great workout. Otherwise, like on paper, I just did not feel it yesterday, so I was happy about my deload workout that happened, I think it was today or last night after that broken miles thing. But yeah, the Zoomfly 6 was the shoe I had for that workout. The second workout that went well was more of a progressive run that I think was last week, and I don't remember all the splits exactly. I think it was like a mile on just for conversational pace, and then it was like every mile was slowly getting faster and faster. It started like 7:40 to like 7:20, maybe 6:50, then like 6:45, and I think it ended at like 6:30 at like half a mile, and then a mile off, right? So it was just gradually getting faster as the workout was progressing, and by the last mile it was just a cool down, right? And I know the Zoom Fly 6 was the shoe I was using there, and it got me through the workout because mostly when it comes to like these negative split workouts, I'm pretty comfortable with them because there's enough time to like get warmed up, get in kind of the swing of things, and by the time you're into those bigger bulk workouts or splits that you got to do, you're already feeling good. If you're feeling exhausted, then clearly the workout or your rest was not good, but if the workout itself is like, if you're looking at it and it makes sense to you, then you're probably going to be okay with it. So the Zoom Fly 6 was the shoe I used for that workout. It went really well. I felt refreshed afterwards. I was beat up, but I was like feeling some good clarity there. Like, okay, this workout was great. I could do this workout again and it'll be great. We can also bump up the intervals if we need to. Like, I don't need a 740 mile to be like my first split. We can like move it up 10 to 15 seconds. I can do like a 7:30, a 7:15, 7, 6:45, 6:30. Like if I was doing this in a marathon block, I would like cut off 15 seconds per progressive mile at that point. So that being said, as a shoe, how do we rate it as like some of my better speed, everyday racer speed style workouts? It's doing well. I don't think it's the best one I've ever owned, but it's doing well for the time that I've had it at 250 plus miles. The wear is not as bad as I remember in like the Zoom Fly 4. It's not as bad as I've seen in something like my Vomero 16 when I was taking that thing for 300, 400 miles. So it's maybe an improvement both in my running form, but also maybe in the quality of material that's being used in the shoe, where it's possible to pump more out of the shoe that's a carbon plate stiff style shoe and still be able to keep pushing these workouts and potentially use for a race. Now, personally, I wouldn't use it for a race only because I have the race day shoe and I know it is most comfortable in those extremely fast scenarios. But that being said, if I was absolutely resolved to racing in a shoe that was between like this and like the Nova Blast 5 and like, I don't know, something else I bring on a work trip, like the Vomero 18, like, yeah, I would settle for the Zoom Fly 6, right? Because it's the fastest shoe of the three. But yeah, that's kind of where I would leave it at that. So yes, you can use this for a race day. Yes, at 250 plus miles. I personally have a pair that's looking great. And this is not really a fumble by Nike. I think this shoe is in the right direction. It's certainly better than the Zoom Fly 5 when I had it in, was it 2023, 2024, whenever that was, that brick of a shoe. This thing is great. I'm enjoying this so far, so we'll just try to take it to 300 miles and see what happens. So if you have any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, let me know in the comments below, but I think that's where we'll leave it at that. So thanks again for watching. See you guys in the next one.